What's wrong with that? Welcome back to American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com. And I say worldwide because, Glenn, is it true? We get calls and messages and texts and emails from all over the planet.
Absolutely true, and it's always exciting to get that. And in many cases, I can refer them to their local county veteran service officer. But not every state has them, and of course, I'm more than happy to get them going in the right direction, and what they need to do to file the claim, and what kind of evidence they need if they don't have local accredited representative help. And of course, as we say all the time, and I had a gentleman in my office last week. Use accredited representatives to do any of your claim business. It's changing so fast that my head spins when I go to work now, just to keep up with the new forms that they want and new ways of doing business. And if you do it the wrong way, you're going to be in the regular stack. And with all the special programs VA's got going on, Lord knows how long it'll take to do your claim if you get into the regular stack.
Exactly. So I mention that because on American Warrior Radio, you go to 1300WMEL.com, click on Archives, American Warrior Radio comes up first, and you will be able to share this awesome interview with these generations of warriors. Right now we have on the phone with us Michael Coon. His father is the last Native American survivor of the Bataan Death March. His son is currently in the Army and serving as a 50 cal machine gunner. He just got back from a tour in the sandbox over in Afghanistan and is preparing for another, well, I guess it's probably imminent danger anyway, going over to Africa. Michael, you still on the line with us?
Yes, I am.
Well, thanks for sticking with us because you got a lot to tell there. You were starting to finish up on your experience in the military, and that while you didn't actually deploy to Vietnam, you were able to really make an impact by teaching these young men how to become paratroopers, right?
Correct. It was just like after we had finished our training and everything, and it was hard training too. That more training than what I had in basic and AIT and everything. But when you're being a paratrooper and everything, they run you through the mill. I mean, they give you every bit of training and knowledge that you need to know, and all that knowledge did help me when I did exit a few aircraft and everything. That one time my chute had opened just half open when I jumped out, and as I was descending down, I just had a half chute. So in order to, and then if I pulled my reserve, then it would have cigarette rolled around my main chute, and so then that would have been another disaster happening. So I just decided to write it down, and I went ahead and climbed up the canopy as far as I could to hold the wind speed down on it and everything. And so I knew I was going to hit hard like a sack of potatoes. I went ahead and wrote it down, and then by the time I had got down, there was ambulances rushing to where I was going descending to, and by that time a Jeep came by after I hit. I didn't get hurt. I rode pretty hard, but I got up, and then said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." So he took me up to load your gear up, and let's go back up to the drop zone. And so he gave me a ride up there, and then the ambulances, in the meantime, the ambulances were looking for me. They thought I was getting dragged to the drop zone. And so they were scrambling around. So where's that guy that came down with that half chute? And finally that Jeep guy came back to that area, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't take him up there." Because he said, a matter of fact, he's up there on that chopper right now, getting ready to come back down again.
Well, I guess that's the old thing. If you get thrown off the horse, get back on the horse immediately. But with both of us being ex-Air Force, we don't understand why you want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane anyway.
But we're glad you do it. We're glad you.
Well, and we're glad you were not hurt or more worse killed. But did you parachuting is a hazardous duty by nature. Did you ever suffer injuries from your parachuting?
No, luckily I didn't. That was about the closest scare I came to as far as, but I know there was a couple of chutes back then in the 70s when we were jumping that. They had riggers back then, and the riggers would do certain chutes, like they do 50 or 75 chutes. And then they changed because they were having so many accidents because I think some of the riggers were they were packing them too quick. They wasn't really making them correctly like they should. And so then the Army changed it and said the riggers had to jump their own chutes. So then there became a little equality for chutes.
Okay.
They had to jump their own chutes. So that means that if they couldn't pick out their chutes, they gave them a chute that they had packed.
Interesting.
So that made it a whole lot better. It seemed like the rate of the packers and everything had increased and improved a bunch, and so there wasn't as many accidents as we had before.
Well, that's interesting because out here at Patrick Air Force Base, of course, we have the 920th Rescue Wing, which are the PJs, the pararescue jumpers. They actually jump in when everybody else is trying to get out. And in their facility, they have this massive, it looks like a wrestling mat room. Okay, it's this huge room, and they lay their chutes out. And I know they have riggers, but I also know some of the PJs pack their own chutes. So that kind of stands to reason. They want to make sure it's done right.
That's correct. You're right. But we didn't have that choice in the military. We would just, what we would do, they had like 200 chutes, and you just put on a chute, and then you just got suited up, and then got on the chopper and went. In my military experience, I got to jump out of at least 5 aircraft. I jumped out of C-119, C-130, C-141, not a C-5, but a Chinook, and Huey. Those are my 5 aircraft that I got.
Excellent. What was it like coming out of that Starlifter, that C-141, which is a plane that I crew chiefed on?
You don't really jump out of them, it just sucks you out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, and the C-119 was a good one to get out of because it was prone to crash at any time. It was called a bucket of bolts.
A bucket of both and like a container of smoke.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
You couldn't wait to get out of that thing because you were ready. I mean, everybody was getting sick and they had their bags in front of their reserve bag, and everybody's like, "Get me out of this plane."
Yeah, not one of the Air Force's finest buys.
That's true. That's true.
Well, Michael, I want to ask you, because you are a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, a Native American, how, aside from how American society treats our Native Americans, how have your brothers and sisters within the tribe accepted you? Is there a special reverence towards those that go and join the military?
Well, as far as in the Native Americans and stuff, they're the highest ethnic group that join in the military and stuff. And for all branches and everything. So it's an honor for most of the Native American warriors that do go in. It's an honor for their grandfathers, their fathers, to continue on the legacy and everything. Because in our Native American, we reverence our veterans very highly. And that's why my father has so many awards, because he's asked to be, not because of what he endured, but sometimes it's just like he's a Native American. They're proud of him. He's a national treasure.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. So when he goes, they just kind of lay the red carpet out for him. He doesn't expect anything. He just loves being around veterans. And that's why he instilled in me to be a service officer. I'm a DAV service officer and also an ASOP service officer. I get training every year. So what I got, as far as I got 80% handicap disability, and my father has 100. So he goes, why don't you help other veterans, Native American veterans? As a matter of fact, he put in my mind, we can only help in certain tribes. You can only help your own people. You can't go outside. But a lot of our people marry outside the tribe, and so you can't help if they have married a veteran that's from a different tribe. You can't help them. So my father said, do an intertribal. Get a DAV service officer so you can go out and help anybody. And he said, not only just help Native Americans, you help all U.S. servicemen, women, to get their claims and stuff. Because we have ours now, we need to go help them get theirs. So he's instilled that me to go out and start trying to form an intertribal group so I can go out and have other natives join me to go out and help other veterans in rural areas that are reservations that have these benefits that are deserved to them.
They're earned, exactly. They're definitely earned benefits.
Yeah, and that's great that you're doing that, and much needed, especially in the rural areas. I know you and I've heard at least that you and your dad do quite a bit of traveling, and I'm wondering if you'd ever interacted with any of the wind talkers in Vietnam from the Native American tribes.
We do with the Navajo Nation. When I was in the at Fort Bragg, it seemed like they had sent all our Native Americans out east, away from the reservations and from the tribe. And one of my friends, his name was Lincoln Shepherd. He was a Navajo from Tuba City. He asked me, he goes, "Why do they keep sending Indians all the way out here on the East Coast when we're out towards the West?" And I told him, I said, "It's because it's too far to walk and too far to swim."
Well, I'm really proud of your heritage for you and the fact that you are reaching out to others and helping them with their claims for disability. Of course, I'm a retired legal advocate for vets. Glenn is soon to be a retired legal advocate for vets, so it's really an important mission. And I want to mention for everybody that's listening, first of all, you can share this interview, this entire episode of American Warrior Radio, by going to 1300WMEL.com, click on the Archives tab. Once you get American Warrior Radio, just click on the tab. It's an MP3 player, MP3. You can share it with anybody. And we're really, really pleased to have on our board Joanne Ivins, who's a Uchee Creek elder. Are you familiar with that tribe at all?
Yes, they're part of the Creek Nation there. The Muskogee Creek, the Uchee. My father went to Uchee Indian Boarding School, which is in Swamp, Oklahoma.
No
He
kidding.
was there when he was 5 years old. Until back then, the Uchee Indian Boarding School, they could only go until the 10th grade. And if they graduated from there, then they went up to what they call Haskell Institute. Back then, that was from the 10th on until they get out of high school. And then after that, they learned their trade.
Well, I know your dad wouldn't mind me asking this. How old is your father now?
He's 94 years old. May
Wow.
28th, he turned 94.
Wow. I mean, he's such an amazing man.
Yeah, after all the hardships of the Bataan Death March, that's nothing short of a real miracle, and I'm glad he's still around and sharing his experiences with people and enjoying life, hopefully.
And
Yes, yeah.
And I want to share, folks, if you want to find out more about Michael, his son Keith, and his dad Philip, go to AVET Project's Facebook page. A lot of the videos, and Glenn was mentioning, you make a lot of public appearances where you and your father are honored because they do like to roll out the red carpet for him. He's such a sweet and a gentle man, but a warrior. Definitely a warrior. You can find these YouTube videos on AVET Project's Facebook page. Do you have another reference that folks can go to directly and find out some more information?
Well, that's about, I think they can go on the internet and look under Philip W. Coon, Bataan Death March survivor, and they have his story on there. Matter of fact, I just got back from the Philippines. I went on to the prison camp that my father was. I went on the death march that my father went in April, in memorable of him. And it was just something that you can't explain, being on the same ground that he was at in the same camp. Of course, the camps are totally different now because of 70 years ago, but still being there in the same country that your father was in, and then walking on the same death march that all these 15,000 Americans have walked. It was something to see.
Yeah, quite an experience, I'm sure.
So we're making a documentary on that, and as soon as we get through, then I'd like to get back with you and Garvin to
Yeah,
explain
we'll.
and send you a copy and everything. And also, my father has just got an invitation from the Emperor of Japan to be a guest of the Emperor. And October the 12th to October 21st, we're going to Tokyo, Japan, to go back where he was taken as a slave labor over there. And his camp that he was over there was camp for, see, I had it, camp Kosaka, POW camp in Japan, where he was slave labor in the coal mines.
Wow.
So, for all the atrocities and everything that the Japanese had done to the prisoners, there's 3 widows that are taken over there of former POWs, and
And are you going to include that in the documentary?
Yes, yes.
Excellent.
Well, we'll be looking forward to getting a heads-up copy of that documentary and then having you back online with us to talk about it when that gets released. And it's been a real thrill talking with you today.
Honestly, you sharing your stories and your generation after generation of service to this country. Michael, we wish you the absolute best. Please say hello to your father for me, Philip Coon. He's just an amazing man when I got to meet him, and I met you at the same time. But we'll definitely have you back on American Warrior Radio. Keep us posted what's going on. And please, when you speak with your son, if I didn't make it clear to him, I want to hear from him before he deploys again to Africa, all right?
Okay. And also, we're going back every year. Me and my father go to the right home. So he will be back at the right home in Andersonville, Georgia. And the cross that is there at Andersonville, Georgia, is he's pretty much the last survivor that helped create that cross that's in Andersonville.
Outstanding, folks. And you can find out more about that at AVET Project's Facebook page and American Warrior Radio Facebook page, which you can access easily enough on 1300WMEL.com. Michael, thanks again for sharing some time with us today. We really have enjoyed it, huh, Glenn?
You bet, and thank you for your service to our country and your whole family's service to our country. It's an honor to have been talking with you and your son today, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the future, especially when you get that documentary finished.
That's for sure. You have a great day, sir.
You too. Thank you.
You bet. Folks, again, that was Michael Coon. He's a Vietnam-era vet, and his son is currently serving in the Army. He's been involved in the OIF, OEF, and OND. That last three letters, OND.
Operation New Dawn.
That's what's going on in Afghanistan?
Yeah, and that was just kind of when they did the surge and they drew down in Iraq, all at kind of around the same period of time, and so they changed the designations of the conflict that we were in to Operation New Dawn because of all those changes that went on. I mean, other than that, the military changes names to things all the time.
It's true.
I don't have a logic for that.
No, just like you and I, our AFSCs, I can still remember mine, 43172. What was yours? You were officer, so that's different. But
yeah, 7324. Well, 7316 actually.
And now you try and correlate that with the jibber jabber they've got. You can't do it.
No, I went online the other day and I went, what?
But things change, but the more they change, the more they stay the same. We're talking to generations of survivors of military conflict, from Philip Coon to his son Michael to Michael's son Keith, who's serving our country right now. God bless him and his family. What do you have, 4 kids?
4 kids, he said, and yeah, God bless them all. And this is a good time to talk, to give information. Get your pen and a piece of paper out, or your pencil and a piece of paper. I got my pen. Okay, because we've been talking about warriors and their service to our great nation, and unfortunately some of the effects of participating in combat are some post-traumatic stress disorder type things and other acclimation problems people have when they've come back from a war back to our great country. It's better for them nowadays because they are appreciated. I know, just like we were discussing on the air, that in the Vietnam era, we weren't liked at all in the military. We were spit upon. We were the
scorned.
We were the people that the public took out their anger about the war on, as if we started the war. I can tell you, people in the military are the last people that want a war. I'll guarantee you that we are the last people that want a war.
Well, that's because we're the first ones in.
Because we're the first ones there. So where I was headed is, there is nowadays that fortunately there's a veterans crisis line, and this is for veterans and or their families or parents or other concerned individuals about a veteran or problems they're having with a veteran for whatever those reasons are, and there are trained staff here to help our veterans.
And they've refined this. In just a year ago, you'd call in and get the rigmarole, but now they've refined it, right?
Yeah, because the number is actually the national crisis line, but there's a specific punch for veterans, and the number is Get this down, folks. 1-800, you'll remember that part, 273-8255. When they answer, press 1. When they answer, press 1. That's 800-273-8255. Press 1. And it's important because there are way too many veterans suffering problems out there that aren't getting the proper kinds of help, and this is a vehicle to help get them started in the right direction. It's a vehicle to help families that are suffering with the acclimation process between the veteran and them.
And I've been preaching to you throughout this episode about going to 1300WMEL.com, click on the Archives tab. American Warrior Radio is right at the top. Thank you, Johnny O'Hara. And you click on that, go down and look for the episode where Glenn and I interviewed the crisis caregiver support gal from the VA.
From the VA over in Orlando.
Great information, there.
You bet, and it's right there online. More specifics about the crisis line to make you maybe feel better about taking the chance and calling them.
It's anonymous.
It's anonymous, yeah. Thank you very much, because that should belay your fears about possibly calling them and seeking help. People are always a little afraid about something new, and if you're suffering anxiety disorder and those kind of things, you're definitely more afraid than people who don't have that problem. So it's help. Get it. You know, let's just be honest. The outcome of some of these, unfortunately, is way too many suicides. And
what's the number now?
1-800-273-8255. Press 1.
Okay. As far as suicides, Glenn, you were mentioning, I think we've seen an increase from 18 to 22 a day. Are you listening to that number, people? Wake up. Wake up. 22 of our warriors every day are taking their own lives. This isn't an epidemic. This is an outrage.
Exactly. And if you are a veteran out there contemplating suicide, quit contemplating, because that's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Oh, I like that. Say that again.
That's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Get some help. The help is there. The VA wants to help you. There are even non-for-profits want to help you. AVET wants to help you. I want to help you get in the right direction. Don't commit suicide.
And we have lots of honest-to-goodness referral sources for you.
Absolutely.
If you don't feel comfortable calling that crisis line, which you really should just feel fine, because like Glenn said, it's anonymous. You can get going down the right path. If you are thinking that you can't overcome this temporary, I love the way you put that, Glenn, this temporary set of circumstances, you can. Just hang on, reach out. You're reaching out for help. We all need help, you know?
Others have done it, and you can do it too.
Yeah, and it's just critical, because think of our warriors. I didn't ask Keith Michael Jr. how many deployments he had under his belt, but I'm sure it's more than one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because nowadays the active duty and even the reserve members are looking at more than one tour. Even now with Afghanistan, there's repeat tours going on top of repeat tours.
Exactly. Now, folks, I know we're coming to the end of another episode of American Warrior Radio. Glenn and I have so much to share with you next week. You've got to tune in and have all your friends and neighbors and fellow churchgoers and co-workers. Everybody needs to tune in if they are at all interested in military or veterans issues, because we're going to bring a whole bunch of good stuff at you next week at this same time.
What's the one you're looking at there we're going to bring to them? Just give them the subject.
Okay, y'all heard about VRAP, okay, Veterans Retraining Assistance Program. This is for the guys and gals that fell in between the GI Bills. They had no education opportunity. Well, there's an update to that, and it's going to alarm you. Okay, we're going to bring you the real deal next week. You tune in again to American Warrior Radio next Saturday.
Yeah.
Don't tune in Sunday.
Sunday at the AVET.
Always AVETproject.org. But listen, see you next Saturday, 1100 hours to 1200 hours, right here on AM 1300 WMEL. And as always, Glenn,
don't forget, think of that, and we'll see you next week. Or we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Well, they'll see us. They go online.